Time to talk about week 3 of the semester. In week 3, we get into the building blocks for critical thinking. The authors of the textbook say right up front, before we can evaluate someone's reasoning, we must first find it. The chapters on issues and conclusions, reasons, and ambiguity will help you with that. The key words are someone's reasoning. You are looking for the author's issue and conclusion and reasons, not what you think about the issue. As we go through the semester, I will assign articles and videos on hot-button topics. These are the kinds of issues that we see daily, and most of us already have opinions on them. Topics like this generally present a stark contrast between the various sides, which makes identifying the issue and conclusion easier, particularly at this stage of the semester. Keep in mind that most issues have multiple viewpoints rather than two sides only. A note about issues and topics. Issues are questions about a topic. For example, abortion is a topic, but should abortion be legal is an issue, specifically a prescriptive issue. Conclusions and reasons are never questions. With issues and conclusions, you're trying to identify the writer's main point. Some writers make this easier than others, and when it comes to your own writing, I encourage you to make your main point obvious to your readers. Reasons are what the author uses to support their conclusion. A reminder that making a claim, an assertion, an opinion, or a point is not the same as making an argument. To qualify as an argument, reasons must accompany the claim. So you're looking for the author's stated reasons. At this point in the semester, you're not determining if the reasons make sense or not, or if they're good or bad. Don't reject an idea as a reason because you think it's a bad reason. We're at the early stage of the critical thinking process, so list the reasons, good or bad. Later on, we'll get to evaluating the reasoning. I want to alert you to something called backward reasoning. Because people often associate strong feelings with their opinions, they will resort to backward reasoning. They will hunt for reasons to determine their strong opinions, such that their conclusions determine which reasons they consider. If you're not sure if you've correctly identified the reasons, try adding the word because to the conclusion and then add the reason. If the new sentence makes sense, you've found a reason. Part of understanding an argument is knowing the definitions of words and determining what meaning the author is assuming in the argument. A word or phrase is not ambiguous just because you don't know what it means. Ambiguity is more about different meanings for the same word or phrase. Ambiguity varies greatly in its importance. The most important ambiguities, and the ones I want you to focus on, are those that influence one's acceptance or rejection of the reasoning. Thus, the important ambiguities will be terms or phrases embedded in the reasoning structure. When you identify an important ambiguity, you need to provide a reason why the word or phrase is ambiguous. Otherwise, I will have no basis for assessing your analysis. It's hard to identify ambiguity without knowing the dictionary definition of a word first. The best suggestion I can offer for improving your vocabulary is to read often and widely. Take advantage of how easy the internet makes it to find out the definition of a word. One way to identify ambiguous words is to consider if the word is concrete or abstract. For example, love is an abstract concept, but a child is a concrete concept. The first worksheet is due Monday, February 3rd at 11:59 p.m. to the D2L assignment folder. Week 3 is the first of 6 discussion weeks we'll have throughout the semester. Your first post is due by 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, January 30th, and your 2 responses are due by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, February 3rd. You have the first of 7 worksheets to complete this week. Worksheets will be graded pass-fail. You will earn a passing grade if you answer all of the questions and follow the directions for each question. This week you'll start practicing the questions from the book, so the worksheet includes some short passages for you to read and then identify the issue and conclusion, reasons, and ambiguous phrases. You'll notice I ask you to identify the author's conclusion and reasons. Look for what the passage says, not what you think about the topic. I will post Word and RTF versions of the worksheets. If you decide to use one of your 3 tokens to submit this worksheet late, Access to the assignment folder ends Monday, February 10th. Before you post in the discussion forum, review the discussion guide and video. I've given you 3 questions related to the chapters from Asking the Right Questions. Choose the question that interests you the most, or the one you think you can write 100 to 200 words about. Your answer to the question is your first post and is to be 100 to 200 words in length. You also need to respond to 2 classmates with shorter posts. A reminder that all assignments besides quizzes will be graded pass-fail. While D2L does allow instructors to set up grade items as pass-fail, I've chosen to use 0 and 1 as the grades. 0 for fail, 1 for pass. My goal is to grade your assignments within a week of the due date. For example, worksheet number 1 is due February 3rd. I will have it graded by February 10th. What questions do you have for me? Post them to the questions forum in D2L. Enjoy the week.